All right, hello everyone. Welcome to today's session. Glad to see you all joining us today. My name is Drew Demokas, and I'm joined today, as always, by Ben Radcliffe, Senior Technical Specialist for Media and Entertainment, who's going to be leading today's talk. Today's session is going to offer an overview of the virtual production process and technologies required to take advantage of this production model. But don't worry about taking any notes, as this session is going to be recorded, and there's going to be emails sent out later with links to resources mentioned in today's talk, as well as the recordings that are going to be made available at a later date. There's also going to be a survey included in this email. I really want to learn from you about how we can improve our presentations, so please fill that out for a chance to win a $100 Amazon gift card. Please register for upcoming sessions as well. Just quickly, I'll pop that survey link into the chat here. But before I hand things over to Ben, I'd just like to bring your attention to a couple asset packs and resources. This is a new one, Real-Time Rascals, face capture asset pack. I'll pop the link into the chat in a second here. This asset pack contains a set of characters with facial blend shapes ready to use for our face capture companion apps. This is in addition to our older Real-Time Rascals asset pack, available at the link that I'll also pop into the chat in a moment here. This one includes all 4 of the characters on the screen here, as well as 3 environments, some demo scenes, and sample animation clips for use with Timeline. So if you haven't already checked this one out, please take a look at this one as well. And finally, just to mention a couple of apps we're using as well, the Unity Virtual Camera app that can be used to preview and record handheld camera movements and lens controls in the Unity editor. And finally, the Unity Face Capture app that allows you to preview and record real-time facial performances in the Unity editor. There we go. So a number of different apps and asset packs to check out. And finally, if you've missed any of our previous sessions, they're available on demand at resources.unity.com, as well as the Road to Real-Time event page. Registration is also open for our final session of the year. So please check that out at the event page as well. And I'll hand things over to Ben. So Ben, if you're ready, please take it away.
So hello, everyone. Again, welcome to the Road to Real Time. I'm Ben Radcliffe. I'm the Media and Entertainment Senior Technical Specialist. I'm based out of London in the United Kingdom, where it's completely dark right now. If you'd like to reach out to me, just feel free to ping me at benra@unity3.com or on Twitter at Light and Alchemy. So a bit about me. I've been with Unity. It was my 3-year anniversary on Sunday. So I've been with Unity 3 years. Before joining Unity, I spent 20 years in film, visual effects, location-based entertainment, working for all these amazingly crazy places. And here's a sample of the kind of projects I was working on before journeying on the road to real time. Everything, Shrek, Talking Vegetables, Ninja Turtles, all the 80s toys. So here's our topics for today. Typically, I do a lot of theory. I think the world is so saturated with virtual production. We'll just do a couple slides of what virtual production means to me. And I really just want to spend today doing a deep dive, because we've just released this suite of amazing tools, and I've been playing with them nonstop for the past year. And I really want to show you how to get started. How to take everything we did through the whole journey of real time, take these new tools and shoot your films and take your stories to the next level. So we'll talk about what is virtual production. We'll do some setup. I'll show you the take recorder, which is essential to our new live capture package. We'll take a look at the virtual camera companion app, as you can see here. And we'll also take a look at our face capture app. And I'll show you how to combine all these with the Real-Time Rascals. So again, shameless plug, new Real-Time Rascals, finally on the asset store. It's a separate asset pack. I just put just the characters. There's I think 17 variations altogether. There's a lot of characters, a lot of costumes, a lot of variations. And I'll go through a breakdown of this in our session. For those who want Real-Time Rascals Classics, the environments are still located here. I'm thinking about releasing just an environment pack as well, though, so you don't have to get both. Again, Drew said virtual camera app on the Apple Store. Before we get going, yes, it's only iOS right now. It's there's long reasons for it, but ultimately that the face capture stuff and the integration between hardware and software is really good. So it makes it really easy for us to make a good product, as opposed to supporting a million different Android platforms. So let's start with our first thing. Let's talk about virtual production and the live capture package. One slide on what is virtual production as we talk about it today. There's so much hype about this. I've given virtual production centric talks. Check out my colleague Habib Zagrabor, if I'm missing his name, but he was the virtual production supervisor on things like Ready Player One and Jungle Book. He's done some great Unity talks, and he can talk more about the philosophy and the impact on the industry. But for today, what I want to say is virtual production is where the physical and digital worlds meet. And I think this is what I want to focus on. I didn't just focus on the VCam, and I included the face cam, because really what it is, it's combining the real world into the animated world or the storytelling world. How can we take performances? How can we take motion capture? How can we take face capture? How can we take input devices and see that reflected in our digital world? So it's where the physical and digital worlds meet. It's linking physical devices with the digital world. So I'm going to go through a demo of this, but we have some new tools. I highly recommend you get this. Is in 2020.1, there's this new package manager features. There's these cinematic tools that includes timelines, sequences, FBX exporter, Alembic, Cinemachine, and Recorder. It gives you all 6 packages you need at once for storytelling. So how do you get your pictures out? How do you transfer? How do you round trip assets to a DCC? Everything's included here. And for those who are using, it's visible in the new package manager. For those using earlier than 2020.2, I have some instructions here of how you can manually add those. And I did the same thing. This is our separate package. This is our live capture tools. So live capture, it's a big project, but right now this encompasses our virtual camera app and our face capture app. And hopefully in the future, it's going to be where we're linking a lot more physical world with the digital world. I can't say more about that. There's a couple new windows, and I tried to put these resources. They'll be sent out with the slides, and they'll be on my Twitter in about 45 minutes. They'll go live. I tried to demystify, simplify, take the best of the documentation, and put the essence here for you for setup. The one thing is there's this new connections window, and this is how we, create a companion app server, and this is how we connect our devices to our editor. In editor mode and runtime. So there's a setup here. I'm not going to go through the firewall configurations. If you have a firewall, we have great documentation. I'm going to show you where to get the documentation. As you guys are on a million different computers and a million different setups, that would be challenging to do over Zoom. But I'll go over the connections window and setting it up from the get-go. And I put all the things you need here. And our documentation has great stuff on your firewall on your personal device. Then the essence of this whole live capture package is this take recorder. Like, how do we record this stuff? I mean, we have the Unity recorder. This is similar to that, but this is just for recording live performances, for recording, your positional data, all the data from your VCam and all the data from your face cap. And if I say VCam, I mean virtual camera, just slang, which I mean your virtual camera app. When you think VCam, iPad. So I'm going to go through the functionality here, but essentially you can see we can set things like the frame rate, the C number, all that slate information for doing volume. I'll show you the dirty way to do it, and then we'll get into a more precise way of how to record your takes and whatnot. And the other thing is this is timeline integration. So, we can use this as an individual take recorder, or we can implement this into timeline. So you can take your scenes, your existing scenes that you built in timeline, and you can record a digital device. And I like the analogy for those used to the recorder. You have both the recorder window and you have both recorder tracks. The philosophy is very simple, similar, except you have more take information, which is great. And again, I put all these instructions for you, and I'm going to demo this one-to-one and get started. So let's just dig in and let's do something like down and dirty. And I want to show you, if anything, I'm going to show you, and this is being recorded so you can go later, but I want to show you how just to get started right away. So you can see here, I just have my rooftop scene for my real-time rascals, and I did put some lovely lens flare in here because I couldn't help myself. But let's go here and look at this new Real-Time Rascals package. Again, if you want to get that Real-Time Rascals, I just want to show you, we can go to the asset store, which is now separate, but I can open this window and we'll go to the Unity asset store. You can follow the link, Drew, or just say, Rascal. And you can see we have 2 packages, and I just want to emphasize I'm going to call this Real-Time Rascal Classic, and then I made this separate package here. So you can get that, and you can import this into your thing. And when you do, notice I've set it up so it gives a separate folder, and it's called Real-Time Rascals _ face tracking. And in here, I put all the characters into separate folders. I also put a PDF starter guide in here, and I put a README. So if you want to go into the PDF starter guide, this will give you everything you need to get going as a PDF. So, I like this because I can throw it on my iPad or whatnot. So you have this here. And also I put a README in here. So at any point, you can go to the live capture documentation. You can go to the face capture documentation. And I also put to the Real-Time Rascals homepage. So yeah, anywhere you want to go. So let's go Unity face capture documentation. Boom. Oh, and this actually opens up to our forum. So this is a great resource as well. If you have any question, all our product teams are checking the forum. So let's start from scratch and let's go to Package Manager. So you're going to want to go to the Package Manager. And if you go here and you go to Unity Registry, again, we have this new Cinematic Studio. I went over this in my sequences. Grab that just in case, because I assume eventually you're going to want to get stuff out of and make pictures in the real world. But also you're going to want to go and get this live capture package. I've already got installed just for time's sake, but you can see I've got live capture 1.1 and I'm using Unity 2020.2.1 because it's the easiest. There's also a great AR Face Kit sample you can use if you don't want to download the Real-Time Rascals. That'll give a very simple asset. So I've got my scene. I'm going to go into my Real-Time Rascals and I've set it up for you just to show you what I have. I built your animators. You know, I put some extras in here, some face capture stuff. I put the face mapper stuff. We'll go over that today, but it's just how I set up the previous one. If you want to grab that, I put some demo scenes in for you that's already set up. So out of the box, you can just go to these demo scenes, everything is pre-set up, and you can use that as a template. Let's actually just take a look at this. I'm going to go off script real quick, but you can see I put the character in the scene. Ooh, some nice lighting with the new volumetric clouds. And I also put this take recorder in here with the device and it's all set up. So all you have to do is connect and go. So let's go back to the main scene we're going to work for today. And we're going to set this up from scratch. So we've got my rooftop. Whoop. So let's go grab a character. Let's go grab, I love Sydney the Rabbit. He's one of my favorites. So I'm going to grab him. I've got my favorite. I did some different scenarios with these guys. So I have Sydney. There's some different variants. If you go prefabs, I have a sci-fi, a silent film, and a suit. Yeah, let's go for the sci-fi today. And I'll just drag him in here. And I've just got him on the new setting. So let's bring him way up into the world. So there's a new setting where you can drag it into your window or you can just drag it to the center of the world. So I put him, I was doing like a little Matrix spoof with these guys. So I have him as like the Mr. Smith soldiers from the helicopter scene. So I'm just going to rotate him around. And I'm doing this so it's not easy bake oven so you guys can follow along. And he's got a little helmet. I'm going to turn that helmet off. I'm just going to click on that helmet. And I'm going to turn that helmet group off just so we can see his eyes. But you guys can leave that on. It's fine. And I'm just going to hit save real quick. Notice here, I just want to notice here too, we have like under icons, we have a new face mapper icon. So you can see that this guy is set up with a face mapper already. And if you go, let's take a look. Well, we'll go into the face mapper in a bit. Let's go into the take recorder initially. So there's a couple new things you need to do. You need to go Windows, Live Capture, Connections. This is going to create that connection between your device. It's going to create a little companion app server. So when you hit connect, it's going to look for this. So I just hit start. And then the other thing we need, if you go, right mouse button, you need what's called a take recorder. So you get onto this live capture package and we can grab a take recorder. And this is that new component I was talking about. This builds like a timeline and a take recorder and it puts some stuff and it has all your different modes. So it puts a playable director. We'll close that from now and we don't need to know the transform, but we can have it in live mode, in playback mode. We can start recording. We can set the frame rate, the scene number, the shot name. So we'll call this, R2R Sci-Fi Rabbit. And this will just give us take information for when we start recording. You can see I've done a bunch of practice shots here. So the main thing we need to do is we need to add a capture device to this. So I can go to this little plus and I can say, just for fun, and I'm going to go into the face capture in depth, but just to have some fun, I'm going to say add a face capture device. And I'm going to go over this in detail. It puts this new face device capture and it puts an actor here. And don't worry, I'm going to go through this step by step. I just want to add this because it's super fun. And I can pull out my iPhone. And I'm sorry, I wasn't able to stream my iPhone, but that's okay. I have instructions. But it's a one button click. And you can see here. And that's it. And we'll go into the face capture in depth and I'll show you how to set that up. But just for fun, I'm going to leave that running live while I talk you through this and you can watch the rabbit talk through my voice. So I'm going to select that take capture again and I'm going to add another device. I'm going to add my virtual camera device. And you can see here, right off the bat, I have my little take recorder here, which is my timeline. I have my virtual camera device. This is a little bit more complex because I need to build a camera for this. So we have under here, third mouse button, live capture camera, virtual camera actor. And like I added that face device, I go here and go virtual camera device, and I select that camera because you can have multiple cameras. And you can grab this camera and you can move it around. And the cool part is, you guys know, if you've watched my webinars, I like to frame things through my scene view. So I go frame this through my scene view, select this virtual camera actor and say, align with view. Or you can, again, you can just hit the transform and, I can just move this down, right? So you can just grab this transform and move it down. So just connect this device. So let's just go here. That's connected. So I pull out my iPad and I'm just going to open up my virtual camera app. And there's a one button connect, and that's what that app does. So right now there's a couple modes, and I'll go into the next section. We'll go into the menus and whatnot and the features. But I just want to show you the down and dirty way to connect this very quickly. And I connect. And this is it. I'm in my device. I've got my app captured. We'll go into the timeline setup in a moment. But just for this, I want to show you, I can just hit here and just start recording. And it's just recording this motion. So here it is here. I hit stop. And I also have a record button on my iPhone or my iPad as well. But now I can go back into playback mode. And it's just recorded. And there's two little tracks. And you can see they're just Anim tracks. And I want to demystify this for you guys. That if I go click here and look into our project window, you can see here the Sci-Fi Rabbit. It's just recorded 2.anim clips. This is all these are. So you can rip these apart, put them on other timelines, and do all that. So that's like a very simple way of doing it. The other way, the more sophisticated way, that's kind of the down and dirty way, is, well, let's jump back to the slides, and then I'll show that setup, because I want to do this setup from scratch for you a couple of times. And so let's jump back to our slides. So I'll jump back here. So let's look at the controls and the settings of what's available. I'm going to go... Let me disconnect my iPhone so it's not eating my battery away. So I have virtual control and camera settings. So the virtual camera, again, it's an iOS app. It leverages Apple's ARKit. And what it does is it uses ARKit to track the motion of the iPad, which it then translate into, game space and camera space. So it does two things. And while this is a view of what you see, you can't see from my view because I can't stream the iPad. But you're seeing a live streaming of the view of your Unity scene on your device in real time. So it's just like recording. It's just a window into your Unity world. And again, it lets you preview your shots. It lets you play back shots. It has all kinds of controls: center, field of zoom, heads up display, motion scaling, all kinds of bells and whistles we'll go into now. I think the first and foremost important thing is the heads up display. As you can see along the top, I put all the settings for you. This is where information, like most important is settings, where you can go and you can, customize personalize your settings. You have sensor size, you have the time of recording, you have your focus mode, we'll go in today, your focus distance, your f-stop, and your lens information. Also on this side this is your connection information. So if you want to disconnect and reconnect your app. And I put all these settings here for you, but this is your heads up display. And then you have different settings enabled within the camera, I think, which is important. Because this is a device, it's not a physical camera. It's not a physical device. So, so not everything turns into a iPad shot Jason Bourne film. You can control, do you have tilt? Do you have pan? Do you have Dutch? Does it have a level horizon? And I put these different things. A tilt would be like your head up and down. A pan would be like your head yes and no. It's a horizontal move. A tilt is a vertical move. And then a roll would be a twist on like a ball head or in space. And because of it's on an iPad and it's not a camera, if you want to get more control over this, the thing is you can just turn these on or off, or you can apply a scale factor to these to make it a little bit more lifelike. Like you might not want to have a Dutch tilt like this, because on a big camera rig, you wouldn't be turning a Steadicam, rotate side to side, or you can compensate for these things. I think one of the great settings here I put for you guys is dampening, and I'll demonstrate this in a minute, but this is adding It adds a physical dampening, so it's more like a physical device, so you don't get that born. It has a little give and a little weight, just like we have in our Cinemachine cameras, like in our noise. It just gives a little bit of weight and a little bit of follow through and overlapping action. So it's really nice. And you have these controls of how much you're dampening, because I'm a big giant human shooting on a rooftop in a cartoon world. The scale of me and the scale of my camera might not make sense. So you can play with different scales and the dampening settings. And then the overall motion scale and axis position locking. So what this is so maybe you move in and out and you're not getting far enough. You can increase your scale in the world so your movements are bigger. So for example, I want to do a sweeping thing, say I'm doing a science fiction movie going across a moon base or something. You'll be able to do like a giant, dolly tracking shot. And you can play with this sense of motion scale. Focal length, this one's pretty obvious. This is changing the focal length. This is how much your character is in frame. It's how far the lens is from the image sensor. And just like on a zoom lens on your DSLR, or just like a zoom on your phone, you can zoom in and out. So I tried to put I put the controls here. I want to make you know what's available. There's depth of field as well. I'm just thinking I missed my 2 slides. I didn't put them in the end, but depth of field, you can also have real-time focus pulling. So I can have a manual focus of where I'm focused. I can change my aperture, which we went over in my layout and camera work. But the aperture is how much of light lets in the lens through a little collapsible eye. And the wider the aperture, the softer the image and the more depth of field or blur effect. You can have that real time and depth of field in this camera, and you can have a manual focus. So you can do manual focus pulling, or you can have a little reticle where you can just click on what you want to focus and have an autofocus, just like your iPhone. It's a game changer. You can also you can control your timeline through the iPad app. It's a timeline control. So one, it's good for, you can hit play and you can preview your timeline as you record, and then you can scrub back and forth and look at your timeline. It gives you a little scrub wheel, but it also allows you to play back clips in real time. So you can go and play back clips and rescrub. And then there's the settings. I put the settings here. It's in the upper left of the things. And, it's different things like show joystick, show controls, show HUD, show crosshairs, ergonomic tilt. I missed, I just realized I made 2 slides and then I pulled them out last minute there's on the control here, there's a left joystick and a right joystick. And that's kind of like, it's hard to describe, but that's for navigating your 3D world. So you don't have to go in 3D and reposition your camera. I can just move my translation and I can move my elevation. The left one is translation forward, back, left, right, which is pretty straightforward. And then on the right is an elevation up and down. And that's really just for how do you get in and frame that shot without having to jump back in Unity and move that camera every time. Can you do it? And it feels a bit like a drone navigation, to be honest. So let's go dig into that virtual camera and I'll demo all these effects. And I'm going to build this again from scratch. So I'm going to delete this take recorder. I'm going to delete this, and we're going to build it out the way we should build it out to show you that one. Like for that take recorder, and again, it's like that take recorder. Let's go through the process again. Let's close this. Let's stop this. Let's close this guy. And again, to start, we're going to go here. We're going to go Window, Live Capture, and get that Connections. I'm going to go here. I'm going to drop this Connections in, and I'm going to hit Start. And it's it'll server. If you run 2 Unities, it'll say you're already using one port for another. You can always just increment that up. It starts as the default to 9,000. You can see I've already incremented it up. So I have that there. So I need to go and get this new thing called the Take Recorder, and it's under this little plus here, or third mouse button, and I go Live Capture, Take Recorder. And again, this is our brand new take recording system, and it's pretty great. And like I was saying, like the down and dirty way, what I use this for is like, I was doing a bunch of stuff with these guys, and I needed to just do a lot of face capture, and I didn't want to get into it and go everything at once. And I just wanted to record my face capture. This is great for sitting and just recording and hammering out takes. Independent, like I'll put a character in a blank scene and just start recording face captures, and then I'll take those anim clips and I'll dump them in my main scene later. So for volume, it reminds me of like when I work in mocap, like for Coco, and I'll just record. I'll just make a big spreadsheet of all the actions I need to take, and I'll just record them all. And this is really good for volume and just kind of recording and versioning up. So you have your take recorder. So you also need to go down here to the bottom. Again, for the take recorder, you have live, you have playback, you have start recording, frame rate, scene number, and we'll get to this in a moment. You can add a description for slates, and you can see your directory for playing stuff back. So what we need to do is we need to add a capture device. So let's just focus on the virtual camera for now. So we'll go virtual camera device, which is my iPad, and it automatically adds this new virtual camera device under here. I'm going to move this over just for screen real estate. So I need to also go and create a virtual camera for this world. So I'll go create. I'll go live capture. Don't be fooled by this camera. It's live capture camera virtual camera actor. And this is going to link, this is going to be the thing that matches to my iPad. And I need to connect these because you can have a bunch of them, right? So you can go here and say virtual camera actor. I just need to select that actor here. And you can see I've got a bunch of components. We'll go into the components a little bit more deeply after I've gone and broken down like what are these new components and whatnot. But you can see you can have record position, rotation, focal distance, focal length, aperture. If you just want to record position, you can turn these on and off. You can just record rotation, focal distance, and we're not going to do it today. It's getting a little advanced, but you can re-record just one thing. So if I record a camera angle and everything's good, I like the motion, I like the rotation, I like the position, but I wiggle or jiggle or something on the zoom in and zoom out, changing the focal length real time, I can just go back and just re-record that focal length and keep all the other attributes, which is really kind of nice. And you have some different lens settings and body settings here. You can see you can set the presets. It's all the same stuff from every camera. And there's snapshots. This is all very advanced. So I'm just going to get you guys up and running today. But these are all for this camera, those presets that come through the lens. But if you wanted to go and say, for example, change the film back and shoot IMAX and shoot different lens settings, you can pick a different default kit lens, and you can see you have just primes here. You have a generic zoom, and you can make your own as well. So let's go here. So we've got this connected. We've got a take recorder. We've added a new camera device, and we've added a virtual camera actor. Let's build a timeline real quick. I know I went over sequences last week, but I'm not sure if all of you attended. So I'm just going to build a timeline the old way. So I'm going to say real-time Rascals commercial. And this is just my timeline. So I'm going to go create a timeline. If you're unaware of timelines and what I'm doing, I did a whole series on timelines earlier in the Road to Real Time. So I'm going to lock that. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add some motion to Sydney as well, because I want to break down how I've set up these characters as well. And I'm going to get this over and over. But I've always talked about that root node and that anim node, and that's how I set up the old one. But this time I called it root, so it's a little bit more clear. And I put animation at the second level. So this is where I put the face actor, and this is where I put the animator controller. And here is where I put the avatar, and this is the rig. So if you want to apply motion capture, you want to apply it here. If you want to apply face capture, you apply it here. So I'm going to drag this down real quick. I'm going to say add animation track, and I'm going to say add anim clip, and I'm just adding a generic a motion capture clip just to give him some life so he's not frozen while I do this demo. And this is extra stuff, but we just want to have we want the characters to be a little bit alive. So I'll just put a little excited thing on him. So you can see where we can go here. We can go excited. So I've got my take recorder, I've got my device, I built the timeline. I can also go here and I can add this new timeline track. So if I go unity.live capture, we have a take recorder track. And then I can drag the take recorder in here. And then this is my track. It gives you a new track. I'll delete this. You can give it a new shot. We can say real-time Rascal commercial, shot one. And you can give it a take and give it information. It builds this for you new. If you need to build your own custom, you could say add slate playable asset. This is the one. So if you see add from object, add slate playable asset. It's a bit of a complex name. But again, this is so I can go and build if I have a whole different sequences and I have a whole complex world and I need to shoot 50 shots. I just made like 50 assets, and I can give these names. So I can say commercial, shot 02. And this is going to define the naming when we record this. So now let's connect to my virtual camera app. So I'm going to go here again, and I'm going to make sure I'm in my game window, and I'm just going to frame this out a bit just to give it some space. It sets it with a lens that's pretty close. So that's why I'm just going to align you. And there we go. Oh, you can see I'm just framing my camera before I start shooting. Again, you can move this. I can translate and move this however I want. This is just physically moving that camera asset in space. Yeah, you can see it here. So there's no magic tricks. It's just a camera, right? And if I move it, I'm just going to move it here just so it's a little clearer. And then we go here. I'm going to hit save. And now I'm just going to connect my device. So I should have this connection running here. That's looking good. So I'm going to go through. Oh, and it's already connected. It just reconnects for me. I'm going to go through the face capture stuff in a bit. We hit reset pose on here. And I'm sorry you guys cannot see what I'm doing here, but I'm just going to go over some of the features for you, just so you know. Again, you can move any way you want. And notice this is the first thing. I put this in the docs. It's really jerky, and I'm sure through Zoom it's even worse. But one of the things I can do is this. The first thing I always do is just put dampening on. And it gives it like a little weight, which is really, really nice. And you see it's feeling more like a physical camera. And I have controls, and I can add more or less dampening and whatnot. But I usually just turn it on, and it's pretty good for me. The main thing too is, again, you can lock these off because you probably don't want all of these. So you can, I'm opening up the camera, and you can see now I move it and it's locked. So I can lock it just tilting up and down. This is just a camera tilt. You know, this is a vertical move, kind of like your head saying yes or no, up, yes. This is like saying yes. And then pan would be a panel node, which is a horizontal move, which is like saying no. It's like no with your head. And you can see now I can rotate and I can do things, and it's only doing this. So you can constrain your motion, which will be very important. And then roll, I emphasize, you can just do a roll move. So the first thing we want to do is I'm going to turn all these back on. And the other thing is, on the other side, we have these zooms. Like I said, we have these positioned. I'm doing the left joystick now. So I can reposition in this world, and I don't have to go back into Maya before I record. I can just set my positions in here, and I can frame my shot. I also have, I'm using the right joystick now, which is an elevation thing. And the cool part about this is I have down the bottom, I have a little playback control. So you can see here, I have a little scroll wheel. Is it going? Is it going? Where is it going? Sorry, wrong one. You go here. Oh, it's not playing for me. What did I do? Make sure I'm on my right thing here. Make sure that I'm selected. And where did I put my timeline? Real-Time Rascals, timeline, take recorder, timeline, virtual camera. Here we go. Real-Time Rascals commercial. Make sure my take recorder is in live mode. And I should be able to hit play. Oh, it's not hit playing for me. The power of real time. But I should be able to scrub this back and forth. Is it? I think it was, actually. Oh, it is. That's weird. Oh, you see it now, it's working. The magic of real time. But you can see on my thumb, I have extra scrub control, so I can find where I want to start, and I can scrub those points. And I can hit play. So if I want to practice movements, this is good. If I want to practice like framing in and zooming in, I'm not recording yet. I'm just kind of playing. I can stop. I can rewind. I can free frame. So you can move and control your timeline from the device, which is really important. So say, for example, he's just dancing in space, but maybe he's walking towards camera and you want to get the blocking right. You can start to block and frame these points. So let's go here. I have a record button on my iPad, and it just gives you a 3, 2, 1. So I'm just going to record something for now, just so I can show you this. But we'll just hit record. It goes 3, 2, 1. And I'm just going to zoom. I'm going to go back out and up, and I'll just do like a final pulling out shot. Maybe it's like a helicopter shot. It's the end of the day. He saved the world from the aliens, and this is that like end of the day Michael Bay Independence Day on the roof shot. And you can see I'm just recording this. Boom. I'll hit stop. Cool. And now I can go into playback mode. And you can see here, I can scrub back and forth, and this is that shot I just took. And it's just here, and I can hit play and I can re-preview it. Cool. So that's the basis of recording. Let's go back in here into live mode. I'm going to go over a couple of things real quick. And on the top, there's actually a reset pose. So I can always just go back to reset. So I can reset the lens and I can reset the pose. So I'm going to go here. We have a couple things here. Again, we have a focal length on the right-hand slider. And so I can change the lens and I can zoom in and out and I can record this at live. I'm not a big zoom guy. I'm kind of anti-zoom guy. And we also have different modes here. Like I can change look at that. I can put depth of field on that real time. So I can control that aperture and control how soft that image is. And see, I get an f22 lens and I can go all the way down until like an f0. And you can see it's getting very blurry bokerific-y. But I can go here and I can do a manual focus. And you can see I'm pulling that focus and I can get it sharper on him or on his eyes. And then also I'm pulling it out now to make it blurry, but you can control this stuff. There we go. There's a nice tight focus on his eyes. You can also have an autofocus mode here. There's a button here for autofocus. So I can just do a reticle effect and I can just tap where I want. So I just tapped his eyes. So it'll put his eyes in focus right there. So you can see it's focusing just on his eyes. And it's a very shallow depth of field. I probably don't want it to be an F1. I probably want it to be like an F5. And I can, again, just tap and refocus on those eyes. And you can see hopefully you guys can see, but they're getting sharper. Cool. So let's dive back into some slides and talk some features. But let me disconnect this real quick. And I want to just show here, again, we've recorded this. We can put this here. We put this take recorder and we can put this in playback mode. And you can see we can replay and play this back. And I'm going to click on this playable director again to iterate that these are just timelines. I mean, these are just, you can see here, it's a little playable director here. But in here, I don't even remember what my thing was called, commercial shot 2. All we did record there, and we have a little preview file here, a PNG it takes for the thing. But all it is a .anim file. So it's recording all that translation, rotation, all that animation data, and it's recording that here. So let's jump back into some slides and we'll do some. Is there any questions on any of that, Drew?
Just a couple of questions from earlier in the session. Just the first one up here. So our device doesn't need to be wired to the computer that it's doing the developing?
No, this is just completely remote. It completely streams, and that's what it does through that connection thing. And we're going to go through the face cap. I'll go do a breakdown of the face cap, and we'll set everything up from scratch. And I think this is what I want you guys to take away is how to set this up, how to get functional with this, and how to start shooting stuff today.
For sure. Cool. One more question just in the chat here. What device were you using to do that?
I'm using I think I have an iPhone 11 and like a 2-year-old iPad Pro. So, and the cool part is you can use your phone. I'm using it because I'm doing 2 devices. You need a device per thing. Like you can't do face cap and virtual camera from the same app at the same time. But like I use my phone as the virtual camera all the time, and it's awesome. It's awesome. It's awesome to sit here at your desk, at your kitchen table. I love to give it to my daughter and let her make her own movies. So it doesn't have to be an iPad. You can use the phone as a virtual camera. I can use the iPad as a face capture as well. But as my face, I have a little Joby tripod behind what you guys can't see, where I just put my phone on behind my monitor. So then I can do face capture and virtual camera at the same time. Cool. Any more questions?
Okay, we got a number of questions rolling in now. I guess the first one.
All right.
Can we achieve these effects without Apple devices?
I'm sure you could write your own, but for us, we built the companion apps just for iOS. I'm sure you can harass our product manager and our product team, but I mean, my opinion is just the integration between hardware and software. They have Depth Kit. They have well, as I go into the face shapes, I'll show you why for the face, particularly because they have all the face shapes stuff in ARKit. That's pretty much right out of the box. It's really easy and clear to implement. Cool. Any other questions?
Yeah, because we can get one more question here now. And just, I see a few questions rolling into the chat. If you guys wouldn't mind just copying and pasting into the Q&A pod, just so we can keep it organized for later when we hit the full Q&A period. But last question for now, does the camera use ARKit 6 DOF tracking?
Yes. Yeah, of course. That's the cool part, right? Because that's the tan pilt, the whatever it is, the tilt roll pan. I mean, those are 3 dots, but then I'm moving in and out. And if that wasn't clear, and I think that's something with the scale. That's why you want to do the scale, so you can kind of just use your hands and go in. So yes, it uses 6 DOF. So what is face capture? And again, this is just using it's using iOS ARKit 52 blend shapes. This is a really simple app. I have instructions for this as well, but it's really just connect and record. It's pretty straightforward. The setting up, I'll go through setting up a character from scratch. So if you build your own characters, I'll show you that process that looks like. But it's per character mapping override. You can see the animation preview in real times. And it has a bunch of customized settings for, minimizing jitter, which I use a lot because, as you can imagine, rigging a frog face is the same. This was making a frog connector. This was a huge challenge. Maybe I'll bust out the frog, actually. Well, maybe I'll bust it out. But I want to start here. This is built upon Apple's, standard blend shape. So if you build your stuff, you want to build to these 52 blend shapes. I put a link to Apple's developer documentation here, and I put a little GIF here of all those blend shapes. And I'll show that in Unity. But you can see here, when I started to build this project, someone just kept sending me this link, and I'm like, yeah, this isn't helping me at all. And then I learned, and you can go click on these. And let's go like jaw pucker or mouth funneling. They have a reference image for every single blend shape here. And you can see this is mouth funnel 0, mouth funnel 1. And this is what's beautiful. All these input devices is just driving a value between 0 and 1. So this is where it's getting exciting, where we're opening our world up to other devices and other inputs and, linking those physical and digital worlds. So if you want to build your characters, I think there's a couple different softwares on the market for, that will automate, I think iClone Character Creator will build for this. And I think there's a software called Polywink. I'm not endorsing or any software, just from what I've heard. But we we just rebuilt the face shapes proper based upon these references. So every single one of those characters has these reference face shapes built in, and I'll show them just like we did the other ones. So it's a pretty straightforward app. When you open your thing, you see 3 buttons. This was me. I took this today, so I can match my hair and my shirt. But you have a settings button up here. You have an AR connection here. And then you have a record button here. And you just push the record and it'll start that take recorder. It connects wirelessly and connects to that take recorder through Wi-Fi. You just have to be on the same Wi-Fi network. And then you have a settings gear with a bunch of options. And the toggle face tracking is just to toggle it on or off. It's just an on button. And I put all the different options here. Like if you want to flip horizontally, you can turn this face visualizer off. You can dim screen during recording and stuff, camera pass through, auto hide the UI. You can save a video file and you can save an audio file. So if you've seen what I've been doing on LinkedIn or Twitter, you've seen my things. I've just been using the save video file. The save audio file, I highly recommend. What I've been doing is to sync things, and it's sync in Unity, but to sync if you do making of videos, if you want to sync your face, audio cues are good. So what I do is I clap 3 times, and then I can match the measure of a spike from my OBS recording session to my thing. So that's a little pro tip if you want to make videos of behind the scenes. And then there's some new components that drive this. There's an ARKit face actor component. So this is kind of like, if you think about like a visual effects graph, you need a visual effects graph asset and you need that component or bolt or any of these, or post processing or our volume. Like this is that AR face kit component, which reads a dependency file on disk. And I'll go through this, but you can do the same thing. Like you can enable channels. Like say you just want to record eyes, you can just record eyes. Say you just want to record face shapes, you can just record face shapes. And all these are driving things like 1 to 0. There's also that AR face kit device, which is what I showed you before. Like we needed to this, we add that to the take recorder to give it that, functionality. And then here's the main secret sauce is this default face mapper. And this is where we build up and put that connection between those blend shapes to the recording device. So this is where I'll demo this, where I put in my prefab. I link the iRig to the iRig so it controls the eye movement. I can have head position or rotation. I'm just doing rotation because I'm using it in combination with motion capture. And then you set up this, you have these here, and you have these, they're called renderers. And that's where you set up the tolerances and the forgiveness. And say you have something that's jittery or something that puckers too much, you can, more or less, there's some sliders so you can customize that like we did with the frog. So let's, chubby fingers. I'm going to delete him and I'm going to save this so I can go back to the other file. So I'll say face setup and I'll build this from scratch. R2R face setup.
Support for the build is rolling in now.
So they're all about rebuilding it from scratch. Okay, cool. I'll do this in Q&A if you guys have any questions and I'm not clear. There's great step-by-step instructions in the documentation I included. And there's great step-by-step instructions online. Like I said, just to put a pin in it, I put the Live Capture Startup Guide PDF right here for you to follow. So the first thing I want to do is let's grab a blank character. I put this face capture and I pulled Sydney and I pulled the stuff off him so we can build this from scratch, just so I can show you what this encompasses. So let's go to our scene view and let's click on Sydney from blank. And just to emphasize here, he's just built like before, right? Let's pick his face. And you can see here on the skin mesh render, just like we had in the last blend shapes, we have more. We just have a ton more, right? And these are built to those Apple references and you can just grab them and move them. And again, all these they're just, here they're 0 to 100, but these are what the shapes are. And you can see some of them are too much, right? And, just like with any blend shapes, you can limit of how much you do these. And you can see this is all built into the character. So now what we do is we link it with that iPhone, and this is just on my face geo under here. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do two things. I need to go here and I need to add, if you've built your character, you've brought it into Maya, you've added materials, this is the Real-Time Rascals is all set up for you. But the thing is you need to add this ARKit face actor. And notice it automatically adds an animator for you. And then you just it reads a mapper. And what it does is it links to this mapper, which reads from the ARKit from the face device and drives these sliders, which drive the other sliders. So there's another component here where I can say, create, where is it? Oh, live capture is way at the top. And I go ARKit face actor mapper. And I could say new face mapper. We can call it Sydney. I've called it Sydney. We can call it Sci-Fi Rabbit. And then what I do is I connect it here. So we can go and I can connect this here. So one of the things is this is connected just like we connect post-processing to volumes. One of the things we need to do is we need to connect the prefab to here. And it's going to say, this is where I want to show it to you. It gets a little tricky, like Sydney blank. There is no Sydney blank. Or here we go. The rig does not contain a face actor component. So this prefab, I started from blank scratch. So I need to update this prefab. And, I could create a new prefab. I can go down here and say, create a new prefab, original prefab. Or I could have just said, overrides, updated prefab. But the main thing is you need to make sure, see, this one doesn't have that face actor. To connect it into that mapper, it needs to have this AR face kit actor. So that's a little inception-y, I'm sorry, but just update your prefab is my goal. Make sure it's updated. So now I have this connection here and I want to I need to set this up. So I need to set up my eyes. You don't need to, but under here under Sydney, I have skin joints and I want spine, standard rig. If you're not familiar with this stuff, this is just this is a skeleton because it's an FBX model. And I can go back to my Sci-Fi Rabbit and just here, I just added my left eye here, added my right eye here. And if you don't do this, your eyes it won't track your eye direction. And then I'm just going to do head rotation because the position's attached to a body. Cool. So I built my character and that's everything. Oh, no, it's not everything. I lied. You now need to add these renderers. If you click here, they'll automatically be added, but it'll read your skin mesh renderer and it'll find those blend shapes. So I have 3 groups of blend shapes. I have the lower tongue and the geo. So you can just add these and you're pretty much good to go now. But this is also where you can add some smoothing bindings and you could change these bindings. But this is all those blend shapes and it's doing it for you here. So this, so I'm going to leave this right out of the box and let's set this up again. So I'm going to grab my phone. I'm going to hit save. We have our connections. I'm going to stop connection. I'm going to start connection just because I'm just superstitious like that. You guys know that. And then I'm going to go to these components again. I'm going to go here, or I always third mouse button, just like adding game objects, just like adding lights. And I go to live capture, take recorder. So this is that take recorder, but it's just kind of like a recorder. Think about it like when the physical recorder, you need to add, do I want to record an image? Do I want to record an FBX? Do I want to record audio? You need to add a little setup, right? This is the same. So you just need to connect a capture device. So I'll go ARKit, capture device. And then here, I need to bind that actor because may I have 5, you have different devices, different actors, whatnot. So I only have 1. So I go here and that's it. Everything should work out of the box. So let's go here real quick and let's connect my phone and connect. Let's go here. Am I connected? And sometimes, let me go here. Boom, boom, boom. Live. I'm on take recorder. Is it recording? Connect. It's pretty cool. I mean, it just works out of the box. And you can see there's some pinching and stuff I might want to do. I left it all straight for you. Like if you go, there's some corner pinching, and that's what those little controls are for. Yeah, and it's pretty great. And I can that's it. And if I want, I can say, hold it here, and I can just say, Sydney, new, whatever. And I can just record a face. And I think this is what's exciting. So let's just go do that real quick. I'm going to pretend like I do like at home. So I'll just record a bunch of dialogue and a bunch of faces. And I like to do it just here in a blank scene and hit start recording. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. All right, that's embarrassing enough. So we'll put this up here on my thing because I can just keep talking. But then I just want to show you how to reconstruct this too. If you want to hack it, I want to show you the hacky way of doing this. So I've got my take recorder. I'm going to disable this for now. I guess I could leave it going. And I'm going to make a new timeline and I'm going to say face capture demo. And I'm just going to build a timeline. Again, I would typically, this is the only time I'm using timeline. I'm just using sequences for everything. So if I want to apply this animation, I can go here and I have these 2 components. So I made a Sydney here, and I hope this is misleading. This is where you put the body animation. So I can put excited. That was that clip we used before. Sorry, I'm doing a bunch of tricks. You know me, I'm tricky. And so this is adding that body motion. And you can see it's still tracking my face now. So that's fun. And you can do live avatar. My colleague sets it up. So he does using the compositing stuff, and he just goes through Zoom and he comes through as the bunny. And then you want to put this, classic thing. I'm going to lock this here. You want to put that face capture. Look, as I drive this, you can see it's just driving these sliders and these blend shapes real time, 0 to 1. And that's what this stuff is doing. And it's pretty magical. And again, I can turn off the blend shapes. And now the face is stopped. Is the eyes moving? I can't see. Anyways, so, but if I want to, I'm not recording, I could turn this take recorder off and now it's just frozen. It's a timeline. I can grab this Sydney blank and I can drag this here and create another, it's just an animation track. This is what I really want to emphasize to you guys. So that take recorder is Sydney new, and I can just find it here, but I can just now on this demo, I can just right mouse button, find anim clip and say Sydney, and you can see there's that Sydney new. Where is it? I don't see a Sydney new actually. Did I record it? Let me see, make sure I recorded that face capture demo. New shot. I don't think I called it Sydney new. And it's in this new shot. New shot 2. So Sydney Blank new shot. Okay. That's kind of a bummer. It didn't give me the name I wanted, but that's okay. So I'm just going to go just to show you, but boom. And it's just a timeline clip. Yep, and there's my A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And it's all the same stuff as timeline. Like if I can shift click here, let's move this over for screen real estate, but I can shift click, I can drag this out and be like, ooh, make it slow. And I can play with the time and I can blend the clips. Like I've recorded a bunch of blanks and a bunch of expressions, and then I can Frankenstein them back together. So you can have a lot of fun with this. So now that we've built this again, let's disable this timeline. We're starting to get a little complex, and I'm starting to go a little bit off script, but that's okay. I'm having a lot of fun. So again, we've gone through so Drew, let's see if there's any face capture questions before, because I'm going to go again. I'm going to add this. I'm going to add the virtual camera package again, and I'm going to record again.
Sure thing. Let me just take a quick look here. So we'll go way back to some of the questions that were rolling in earlier during our last little break. Can you use two together on the same phone at the same time? I guess with regards to recording face capture.
I'll show you. You can record them both at the same time, but you need different input devices, like because they're each a separate app with a separate purpose. They're two purpose-built apps. Like we don't have one app that's a little weird too, because you'd have to keep it here, and that's just not a problem people have. But you can record both at the same time. So the Take Recorder will record two different anim clips, and that was actually what I'm going to show next. Is I can drive the face capture and drive the VCam at the same time, and I can record both, and it records two separate anim tracks, two .anim clips.
Okay, next question up here. Will an iPhone XR work?
I don't know. I think anything with the depth camera and the face capture on the Apple Store and in our documentation, we have specific devices. XR.
Just saw this one. I can field this one actually quickly. Just another question about whether an iPhone is required for this app. Yes.
Yes.
For the specific app that's being discussed today, yes, iPhone is required.
It's because we're using that stuff. It's not this is the thing. Is this is this live capture package, though. But there's nothing there's a million people out there who've written a million Android phones. So there's keeping you crafty people in the maker community making your own.
Right. Oh, we got an answer in our chat here, actually. It does work with the X, and it is stated in the documentation. Thank you very much there.
And let's go add that face capture component. You can do a lot more sophisticated stuff. I'm just really want to get you guys up and running, and I don't want to overwhelm you. So, but like, again, you can re-record on top of takes, and there's all different modes. It goes a lot deeper, but today it was really just about getting you guys on the road to real time and getting you guys making stuff. And I think it's fun. Woo! Yeah, that's cool. So let's go here. And again, so we want to add another device. We go to Take Recorder and we go to these bindings, and we can go here and we can say virtual camera device.
Oh, sorry, Ben. Just before we move on, just had a question from it's kind of urgent question, I guess, from one of our audience here. Can you record it live working on the timeline? Record it live while working on the timeline, I believe, before adding the face capture.
I'm sorry, can you clarify that? You can record live on the timeline. Like I can. The other thing too is like I can just so it's you can use this. So what I've been doing is I've been working two modes. So I'm going to do a demo again where I'm going to build a timeline, but also like I use this Take Recorder as a timeline. So let me get rid of this like sci-fi blank. But you can see here on this Take Recorder, or did I do something weird here? Let me go back to my Take Recorder. Yeah, we're live playback. I think I broke the connection somehow. But yeah, you can put timeline. So I'm going to do that now where I'm going to build a timeline from scratch. So we'll do something a little bit more fun, and then we'll combine some anim clips, and then we'll record face caps in conjunction, which is what I've been doing online, if that makes sense. But if I don't answer your question, just get a little bit more, just ask again, and so I understand. Cool. So that answer, that was kind of scary. So let's build it again. So we built our camera here, and let's go here. And I'm just going to say again, we need to create for the camera where we had like this face capture, we had to add this actor. We need to do the same for the camera. So I'll go Cinemachine Live Camera, Virtual Camera Actor. And again, it's just a camera. This looks a little close. So what I can do is I can just grab this Z and I can just pull it way out. Or like, guys, I've said this a million times, like I like to go from here. So yeah, let's start way out on the opposite. Oh, that's a little too far out. By the way, if I haven't said, look at those luscious lens flares. Those are new in 2020.2, as are those real-time volumetric clouds. Maybe I'll show. Yeah, I'm not going to show any cloud stuff today, but they're so cool. You can make them animated. Yeah, I'll do it at the end anyways. I can't help myself. So we have this virtual camera actor. I can, again, just like I do with the real camera, I can say align with view. And if it's a little offset, so I'll just move that here. So this is my camera view. And this is what I'm seeing through my camera. So let's go here to our take recorder and let's just connect these devices. So I've already added this. It should all connect. I'm just going to open up my virtual camera and let me make sure this connects real quick. Sorry, I wasn't able to stream with any regular sense of quality on my iPhone, on my iPad. It just kept dropping and the frame rate was chunky. So it kind of wasn't worth it. So I didn't bother to do it. So let's go here and let's connect. Oh, is this not connecting? Oh, I didn't put my virtual camera actor here. There we go. So you can see I put my virtual camera actor here. And so again, this is just connected to the iPad. And so what I can do, and if you notice, I've called my iPad, "Your data is mine," to be cheeky to the people in my local coffee shop, because there's a joke with the guy who runs the coffee shop. Anyways, you can see I have different controls. And I put excited in here. I should be able to hit play on this guy. Let me make sure. Let me redo this anim track real quick. Well, I'll do it the real way. So we get this connected. Let's build it up the real way. So I'm going to go build a new anim track. And this is the way you should do it. And in the instructions in the demo, they just call it director, but you can call it my timeline. You can do anything. But just pretend this is the timeline. You've already built a timeline. You've already built a scene. You've already built everything. And you can just build a timeline here. Oh, I think I had my thing locked. That's why. And then I go to my timelines. I'll just save this timeline. Yes, I'll replace that director. And again, I can just grab Sydney in here. I'm going to grab that Sydney. Oh, wrong one. I'm going to grab that Sydney animation. I'm going to lock that here. And this is where I'm just going to apply some clips. So we can go here and we can apply anything. So let's go anim clip. Balancing device. Do I have chicken dance in here? I do have chicken dance. This is the one I've been using to validate my characters. So if you guys know the chicken dance. I'm going to put this on loop so we can loop a few times so we can have some runway to play. So I'll just put that here. And now also, like I did before, if I want to record from a timeline incorporating a bunch of animation, I can go here. I can just drag this actually here. It's smart enough and it says add take recorder track. Or again, I could third mouse button and say Unity live capture take recorder track. And then I can drag this take recorder and it'll record that information. And I can set up my custom takes here. So I can say new shot and I can say chicken dance. And so, yeah, let's set up this camera to go. And this is what's kind of cool is because one, I can control this timeline from here. As I said before, like here I am scrubbing that timeline. So say I'm getting a little specific at the end. I want to go here. I can frame my camera. So let's go way out and up. I'm going to go up now. And make sure I put my dampening on. So it gives a little bit of weight to it. Let me adjust my lens. Do I want to go something a little wider perhaps? So I want to go something telephoto. And again, I can still play with that scrubbing of that animation so I can get this stuff in line. And then when I get something I want, let's go up here and let's move a little bit further back. I'm just going to zoom in, do the opposite shot, just so it's something clear for you guys. And let's record both at the same time. So we go chicken dance. Was it go and record? Well, it's recording. There we go. There we go. Chicken dance live. So it's playing recording. It's playing that timeline, whatever that is, as I control this. And I'm kind of just moving him in. I'm just doing a slow track, a little to the left. My camera reveals, sorry, I'm doing a lot of stuff. I'm doing face capture live. I'm doing performance live. And I'm zooming this in, and let's just get cheesy with it real quick. So you can see, and I can see I'm moving it in and out, like you're saying, is it sixed off? We can do a better example of sixed off, but yeah. This is feet through the ground. Stop recording. And you can see if we can go back to this take recorder, again, I can put it in playback mode. And you can see it's recorded both of these at the same time. And if I go here to Chicken Dance, you can see in here, Chicken Dance 201, Chicken Dance, it's recorded 2 timelines. It's recorded for Sydney. We've done 2 takes. So we've done the first one and the second one, and it's recorded these. And you could just throw these on that take recorder here. But so we've recorded both at the same time. Cool. I'm trying to keep this clear, not do like a whole bunch of shots and takes and reassemble it. I want to make sure you guys get functional with this tool before I get kind of crazy. I'm sure I will get crazier online, and I'm just going to start incorporating this into the Road to Real Time. So in future sessions, this is our kind of kickoff for these tools, but in future sessions, I'm just going to use sequences and virtual camera as a standard. Any questions on any of that so far? Anything anyone wants me to demo or see? I've got a good 6 minutes before we go into Q&A.
Yeah, just to follow up on that last question. Sorry that I just kind of threw that out there, but once again, they asked before adding the face capture, can you record or save your voice while using the face capture so the animation and the voice or audio can match?
Not before. You can record it at the same time on the app. There's in the settings, I put in the document. It's in the documentation. It's in the slide deck, which is on my Twitter now. There's a little option so you can record. So as you record on the app, it'll record video at the same time with audio. But then it records the video and that animation of the face capture at the same time. So you would have to extract that audio and pull it in. I mean, I guess you could, yeah, if that makes sense. It doesn't record the audio directly into Unity. As far as I know, that makes sense. Does that answer the question?
We got a big yes in the chat, so I certainly hope so. Thank you for your question there.
So let's do something really, I'm going to do something really cheesy. Sorry, Drew, while we answer some questions, I'm just going to play with these new volumetric clouds because these things are dope. These clouds. All right, next question. And just watch me play with these because they're amazing. They shadow, they do everything. They have all these, they have wind. They have let's go custom wind. We'll make it 3,000 miles per hour. Oh, is it going? Am I in active mode? Is it an always refresh? It needs to be an always refresh. Look at those clouds. Woo! Anyways, let's do next question.
How well does this virtual camera work with Cinemachine?
There is a different Cinemachine. There is a Cinemachine camera app, which I'm not going to go over today. It has some more functionality, but they are different things. So it's not like I can just put a Cinemachine in and record from a Cinemachine camera, if that makes sense. But I use them in conjunction. So you can drop Cinemachine cameras and you can drop these cameras in the same timeline track. One camera can be, live capture. One can be a Cinemachine camera. So it works seamlessly, but I can't just take over a Cinemachine camera in the traditional sense with this app. Look at that real-time shadowing of those clouds with this real-time depth with this real-time lens flare. All right, let's do another question.
Hey, can you record body animations in real time with the camera on your phone?
With these apps, no, but that guy Dilmer just did a recording thing. I can't pronounce his last name, but Dilmer does all the XR stuff on his YouTube channel. He just used our networking stuff to do a real time. I believe it was I haven't watched it yet. My colleague Chris is the lead on that team, but did real time thing. And other people are using. My colleague Dan Miller wrote a ARKit app for capturing body tracking. If you guys want a body tracking app, stick in our feedback on our roadmap site. I've showed in the past, but if you type Unity roadmap, you can put suggestions. And if you want to suggest a real-time body capture app, that's not out of line. That's kind of what we're looking at without making any promises to features and an asterisk is really this live capture package opens up. They're just input devices, like I showed with the face capture, that drive values between 1 and 0. So any kind of input can input, like the body tracking could drive body. Right now, you can record body tracking information from ARKit, and you can convert it to an FBX and apply it to a character in Unity. I've done that using using various stuff. So that's not out of the realm of possibility. I'm not promising a app in the future. If you guys want it, hammer our forums and demand it. All right. Is this clear for everyone? Is there anything anyone wants me to go over? And otherwise, we'll just go straight to Q&A, and you guys can hammer me with a bunch of questions, and I can give you a bunch of non-committal answers.
Just one last thing ties back into the Cinemachine question from earlier. Thinking more in the Cinemachine camera blends. Thinking more that the Cinemachine camera blends more than dropping the animations onto CM_cams.
I'm sorry, the blends. I haven't tried that yet. To be honest, that's a good point. I assume you can blend between clips. I say like let's get crazy now, but it'll fail, and you guys will get mad at me. But we could try and hack that. Like let's see if we can grab that face actor and take recorder. How would that go? That face camera. I'll work on that and I'll put it on Twitter. I'm not going to live because, but I have blended between the face capture. I haven't thought to blend between the cameras to see what that could give you. I imagine you could record multiple things multiple times. I put some resources for you guys, like always. So this is a great sample project. I highly recommend you check it out. Here's a blog to it, and here's a great sample project showing all our sequences and our cinematic tools with this really cool animation called Michelle. It's really great. One more Road to Real Time for this year, and then we'll start to look at something for New Year's. I was talking today, I'm thinking about going to Twitch and doing like a 2 to 3 hour Ben rant every month. So if that's something you're interested in, ping me on Twitter and let me know if you're down with that idea or if you like the format of this webinar. Again, follow online. I'm going to be posting stuff all week. I'm about to go on a 4-week haul, 2 weeks off, coming back for 2 weeks, and going 2 weeks off again. So I'll be posting on my holiday. I'll be posting all my nerding out. So thank you. Let's do some questions.
Just going to get to a question here myself quickly. Just someone asking about sharing the documentation. I just wanted to confirm, is that for the face capture?
The live capture packages is both, and that's kind of why I broke it out. If you just go Unity Live Capture, it's in our just regular documentation, and the face capture and the virtual camera are combined under what's called Live Capture. I was going to call the webinar Live Capture, but I thought virtual production was a little bit more trendy and would get more viewers.
Sure. All right. I guess from there, let's dive right into the other questions in the Q&A. Cool. So would the workflow to sync the virtual camera to a green screen shot? What would be the workflow, to sync the virtual camera to a green screen shot? Is that possible?
That's a loaded question. So sync the virtual camera to a green screen shot. I'm not going to answer that right. There's some stuff coming. There is some different stuff, but we are looking at that as a holistic solution. So I'm gonna be non-committal on that and not make eye contact and not answer that directly.
Alrighty, next question then. Does face capture work with a generic character?
The face capture does not. You need to build the 52 blend shapes, so it doesn't magically like put those in to form the geometry. You need to pre-build those 52 blend shapes. And for the other, the Real-Time Rascals Classic, as we'll call it from now on, those just as the motive blend shapes. So I put those just for like smile, frown. This is more complicated, and these were all built in Maya and then exported into and built as a character. So we have a sample project for you to explore with, and you have all these characters for free to play with. But if you'd like to build your own characters, you'll have to build it. And I think there's some softwares that'll, like, I didn't do it. My colleague's like, dude, you only need like 7 blend shapes, and we can just fake the rest, and we can do it. And I was like, I'm giving it to you guys for the community. We decided to just build it properly.
All right, awesome. This one was actually sent in at the start of the webinar with a winky face at the end. Any chance to show us some Weta tools?
No. No. Not talking about. Check out. I linked all the information on my blog and on my Twitter and LinkedIn. Not my blog, the Unity blog, but all the information's there. That was a super secret announcement that came last week. Expect more to come.
For sure. I had a question in the chat here earlier. Is this URP or HDRP?
It works with both. I'm using it for HDRP, but it works with URP the same. So I'm looking at that now. It's always a dilemma. Like it's a dilemma. But I'm looking at doing some AR stuff. So I'm gonna record these faces and do some motion capture performances and put these things on HoloLens as well. So yeah.
Any support for PC webcam?
No, again, this is built upon, there's like a depth sensor. It's the same depth like that does your face. We're leveraging that technology. So like, when you have your depth camera, it reads your face and unlocks your phone. It's that same depth camera that's driving those blend shapes. So you need that depth camera. There are others. I mean, these are our companion apps. So I want to emphasize that. One, if you want the easy way, just grab our companion app on our stuff. But there are a lot of great solutions that do image-based face tracking or image-based body tracking or hand tracking. Like I play with it's over on my other desk, but like I've showed in the visual effects graph, there's like the Azure camera, which is this the same camera from the HoloLens. It's the Microsoft Kinect to Azure. It has tracking, so you can record body tracking off of that. So they're just input devices. So you just get data in, data out, and input there. So someone will write something if they already haven't.
All right. Question in the chat. What about 3D? Does face capture work with 3D? And they also ask, how can we find more HDRP environments?
Assets. There should be, a bunch of people have made stuff. I've just released the 3. There's other tools. There's like SpeedTree. There's the Fontainebleau asset. I use the Fontainebleau one all the time, but I think it depends what you're doing. I think there are a bunch of HDRP assets. I think our asset team, and there's like the whole, I can't remember, it's like Signature Series or whatever. But we just did, I'm just a shameless plug for something awesome, is if you guys remember the Viking Village, it was an old Unity 5 demo project. It's a full Viking Village. Our team, we just re-released it as URP, and it's awesome. I downloaded it, put it in the Quest, and then you're running around in a Viking Village. It's pretty cool. So if you want a great asset to play with, grab it and just upgrade it. Sorry, just upgrade it.
Nice. Thank you again, everyone, for joining us for today's talk. Big thanks goes out to Ben and all of our organizers as well. Please keep an eye out the next couple of days, as you'll be receiving an email with all the resources and links from today's talk. The recording will be made available at a later date, probably in a few weeks. And with that, I guess we have that one final session on December 7th. So please join us for that as well. Oh, there we go. When converting my project from 3D to HDRP, the trees weren't able to convert. It chose like a pink color.
So if it was, what probably happened in there, so if you do an automatic conversion, it'll just convert the Unity standard shader. It won't convert any custom shaders. So what you can do is, if it's pink, it means that there's not a valid material for that asset pipeline. It means the material is not valid. So one thing you could do is you could manually just go to the materials and just go select the shader underneath and go to HDRP lit and set that manually. But one caveat with that is the problem, you'll have to reassign all the textures manually. And that's kind of the problem, because different shaders have different textures. And you guys see that with URP and HDRP, right? Like, there's different texture maps, and the automatic conversion process is just from converting from our legacy built-in render pipeline to HDRP. So it basically knows the names of the texture maps and automatically connects those. So if you manually change those shaders, you got to reassign the texture maps.
All right, awesome. Oh, and it looks like we have one final question that rolled in as well. Just a question regarding live mocap penetration. Just said how to enter penetration issues with live mocap, Rokoko.
Don't move your arms inside. There's no answer to that. I don't have an answer to that. I think that's just the kind of thing, because when you're dealing with characters, you just got to be aware, and you got to clean up the data later. I don't think with a Rokoko, there's no magic solution it's all about the rigs and the deformations and all that stuff. It depends, and with Rokoko, it's a very inexpensive, great motion capture. But like when I do the real-time Rascals, what I do is I just capture it. I let the penetrations happen. And then I use the runtime rigging, the animation rigging on top. And then I can apply another level of offset. So if I have like an elbow inside the body, I can just use the animation rigging to just like move it out a little bit. So if you go to my animation rigging webinar, I show like how I use animation rigging to correct the motion capture in the Real-Time Rascals project. I do specifically that example where I think the bunny rabbit's arms are inside and I just kind of pull them out so they don't interpenetrate with the sides.
All right, awesome. And one final thing before we go, thank you very much, everyone, for all of your questions. Thank you, Ben, for sticking around for answers. And one last thing, just the Road to Real-Time event page. All of our on-demand content will be uploaded there as well. It'll take a few weeks for editing and uploading and everything. So please be patient as we get this session up, as well as any previous sessions that haven't already been uploaded. But yeah, you can just check out that link there to find any previous sessions and eventually this one as well. But yeah, with that, thank you very much, everyone, for sticking around. Thanks again, Ben. And yeah, we'll catch you next time.